If you're a listing agent and a VA loan offer just came across your desk, I want you to watch this entire video before you make a decision. Because there is a myth in real estate that VA loans are harder to close, riskier to accept, and more likely to blow up a deal. That is mostly wrong. And veterans are losing out on homes because listing agents and sellers don't understand the difference between a VA loan and any other offer. Here's the truth. A fully approved VA buyer with solid income and credit is one of the strongest offers you will ever see on a listing. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what is different about a VA loan from the listing side, what the appraiser actually looks for, and how to protect your seller while still doing right by a veteran buyer. I work with real estate agents on both sides of VA loan transactions every week, and I want to give you the real picture, not the myths, so that you can make informed decisions for your clients. The very first thing you want to look at when any offer comes in, VA or otherwise, is the pre-approval letter. Pre-qualification means somebody called a lender, gave them their income and credit score over the phone, and the lender said, yeah, that sounds about right. Pre-approval means an underwriter has actually reviewed credit, income, and assets and signed off on the file. Those are two completely different things. Do not accept any offer without a formal pre-approval letter that confirms an underwriter has reviewed the file. A fully pre-approved VA file is as solid as it gets. If the pre-approval letter doesn't specifically reference an underwriter reviewed it, ask for one that does. In the Marine Corps, we call this trusting but verifying, inspecting what you expect. You want to make sure there's a second set of eyes on any pre-approval letter that you ever get or that goes over your desk. Here's something a lot of listing agents don't realize. The homeowner's inspection on a VA loan works exactly the same as a conventional or FHA deal. The lender never sees it. The VA never sees it. You have your normal inspection period, you have your inspection resolution period, same process in the same timeline. The inspection, homeowner's inspection, is between the buyer and the seller, just like any other transaction. Where it gets slightly different is the appraisal. The VA appraisal follows the same USPAP guidelines as a conventional or FHA appraisal. It's not harder, it's not more invasive, but there is one additional layer called the minimum property requirements, or MPRs. These come straight out of Chapter 12 of the VA pamphlet 26-7. The VA looks for three things. Is the house safe, sanitary, and structurally sound? That's it. Here's the easiest way to think about it. Imagine an active duty service member buys the house and then immediately deploys. His wife is home with 2 kids. Is there anything about that property that could endanger the family? Missing handrails, broken windows, splintered wood, chipped wood, exposed wiring, GFC outlets not being there. Is there anything unsanitary? Is the structure compromised in any way? If the answer to all of these is no, you're almost certainly fine. Here's a practical tip I give every listing agent I work with. Before the appraiser ever shows up, pull up your listing on Zillow and scroll through every single photo. Is there anything that catches your eye? A loft with no handrails, chipped siding, broken glass, peeling paint? Because the appraiser is going to do the exact same thing. If it passes the Zillow Eye Test, you're probably in good shape. Think of it like turning in a paper in school. If everything looks clean, the margins are right, the formatting is consistent, the teacher isn't going to scrutinize every sentence. But if something jumps out immediately on the paper, margins, font, however it looks, you're inviting more scrutiny. Same principle here. Keep the property clean, well maintained, and well presented, and the VA appraisal is not something you need to be afraid of. Beyond the appraisal, the only additional inspections that come up with VA loans are situation specific. If the property is on a well, you'll need a well water inspection. If the property has a septic system, you'll need a septic inspection. And depending on the state, a termite inspection may be required. Some states don't require termite inspections at all. You can verify what's required for your state directly on the VA's website. Other than those 3 situation-specific items, there's nothing additional on the VA side that doesn't already exist on a conventional or an FHA deal. So let's say the appraiser comes out and flags something. A missing handrail, a broken window, something that doesn't meet the minimum property requirements. That item or those items will need to be repaired before the VA will sign off on the deal. How that gets resolved is a negotiation between the parties. It's customary for the listing side to handle MPR repairs because the veteran has the right to walk away from the deal if a resolution isn't reached, and usually you should fix your house before you sell it. And a side note, if the property doesn't appraise for the purchase price and the parties can't reach an agreement, the veteran can exit the deal and keep their earnest money. That's called the VA Amendatory Clause. Sometimes people call it the VA Escape Clause, and it protects veteran buyers. 9 out of 10 times, if both agents have done their homework and nothing is flagging as unsafe, unsanitary, or not structurally sound, the appraisal comes back clean and the deal moves forward without a hitch. Here's what gets overlooked about VA buyers. They're committed. These are veterans who earn this benefit through their service. They've been through harder things in a real estate transaction. A fully pre-approved VA buyer with solid income and credit is one of the strongest offers you can receive on a listing. It is easier to get approved for a VA loan than almost any other loan product in existence. There's no monthly mortgage insurance, flexible underwriting, and competitive rates. And VA has minimum appraisal turn times built into the process, which means the appraisal moves quickly once the file is submitted and is picked up by an appraiser. If a veteran is fully pre-approved and the property is in good shape, the only things you're waiting on are the appraisal and clean title work, both of which can move fast. Don't let a misconception about VA loans cost your seller a great buyer. So here's a recap on how you protect yourself as well as your seller and all parties in a VA deal. Always require a pre-approval letter that comes from an underwriter, not a pre-qualification letter. The home inspection works exactly the same as any other deal. The VA never sees it. The VA appraisal follows the same guidelines as conventional and FHA. The only additional layer is the minimum property requirements requiring a house that is safe, sanitary, and structurally sound. Do the Zillow Eye Test before the appraiser shows up, and if you're a buyer's agent, do it before you make an offer. If it looks clean in photos, it'll likely pass. Additional inspections only apply if there's a well, septic system, or state-required termite inspection. If an MPR flags, it needs to be fixed before closing. It's customary for the listing side to handle that. And you need to know that VA buyers are committed, qualified, and often easier to close than people think. A fully approved VA offer deserves serious consideration. If you're a real estate agent working with veteran buyers or fielding VA loan offers on your listings and you want to make sure every deal goes smoothly, reach out to me directly. And if you're a veteran who feels like somebody talked over your head, didn't explain your benefit clearly, or made you feel like you weren't going to qualify, you might just need a better game plan or a second opinion. A lot of times, one lender saying no does not mean the answer is permanently no. Look me up at dallasfrye.com. A link to my contact information is in the comments.